Still got the scar just here.
This is a metaphor for your life, you know, this is. Go on, tell us the story.
Well, I had a boomerang and I'd heard about, I'm not sure how old I was, but I didn't know exactly how it works, so I thought I'd mess around with it and see how it goes, and sort of threw the boomerang and didn't quite get it right. And then once I got it right and sort of just kept going around, I thought, oh, that's pretty good. And suddenly it started coming towards me and I thought, geez, I better try and catch that. And next minute it went bang and it hit me straight in the forehead and had a few stitches there, so... Yeah, it was actually quite fun trying to work. At least I worked out how it did it, but it actually hurt me to start with.
And you broke both legs too when you were 8 years of age.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I was coming out one of those, you know, those concrete sort of cylinders at school that you have and you walk out, and I was sort of bending down, walking out, and someone jumped on my back and it pushed me down and my legs broke. And I can sort of vaguely remember it, but my mum and dad have pictures of it and sort of spoken to them about it, and they said I broke them pretty badly. And the doctor did what he did, and I had some plaster from the neck down with a couple of holes in it. And...
At least.
Yes, and I sort of got round on this trolley and I had to get round for 12 months.
You know, this sort of manufactured trolley going round on your hands.
On my hands.
How long did you do that for?
Pretty close to 12 months.
Good God.
So I think one leg came off first. Not my leg, but the plaster came off my leg first, and then the next one. So I had it in one leg for a bit longer, but that was worsely.
You've been rather powerfully developed round here, I should imagine, when you...
Well, I think that might be one of the reasons I got strong wrists. It might have actually helped me. I don't know, but it's one of the reasons I couldn't run too well. I had to become a slip fieldsman. But yeah, look, I sort of vaguely remember it. I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember getting around on that trolley.
What actually, I mean, there you were growing up as a kid in the backyard playing cricket, dreaming about being a cricketer and Aussie rules footballer too. That was your predominant thing, wasn't it? We'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, in those days, I mean, the great heroes of Australian cricket were fast bowlers. Yep. What made you want to be a slow bowler? I mean, what kind of ambition was that? Yeah,
my brother and I, as I said before, we used to pick our teams, and we had to try and be them, whether it was Alan Border. You know, we'd bet left-handed, we'd have to bat left-handed, and we had to have the tap, and then duck, and then the pull shots. So we had to be those people. Whether it was Abdul Qadir, we had to try and bowl like him, or Tomo, we had the big slingshot action, or Dennis Lilly, we had the, you know, the flick of the sweat off the brow. And we had all those types of things. So, you know, there was no one that really I said, I want to be like him. And cricket to me, as you said, was never really my thing. I really only played the summer.
I find it amazing that, you know, the sort of fine, incredible player that you are, that wasn't your ambition.
Well, I reckon it helped me.
Why?
Well, the reason I reckon is that I never sat there every day thinking, I'm going to do this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And suddenly my dreams were built up so much that, you know, I didn't reach them. I never had that feelings with cricket. And with football, Australian rules football, I wanted to play Aussie rules football. I loved it. And I suppose being a Victorian, it's all about Australian rules football. We don't know much else besides football and cricket in the summer. But I wasn't good enough. I went down to St Kilda Football Club. I played a couple of years of under-19s. I played in reserves. I never made the seniors. I trained with them for a few months, but I never made it. It wasn't good enough. So once that happened, and all during that period, I'd actually just played cricket in the summer because most of my buddies did. And I was a batsman, and the bowling didn't really interest me because I was getting whacked around. I tried a bit of seam and spin and all those sorts of things, and I wasn't really any good. And it's quite tough being a spinner when you're no good. And it's quite embarrassing as a youngster when you bowl double bounces or the ball goes over the fence and they can't find it. Said, oh, we need a new ball. Can someone get us another ball? We've lost that one. So that can be quite embarrassing. So that's why it was quite difficult. But
you had a natural talent. I mean, that must have been it.
I could always spin the ball, but the accuracy and things, that came a bit later. But we grew up on matting. So there was the concrete and then the mats on top and you peg the mats in. And that always used to bounce a lot. Right, so if you were a leg spinner, then you could actually see it was exaggerated how far the ball could spin and bounce and all those types of things. And as I sort of went through the stages in Victorian state squads and playing at St Kilda Cricket Club, I had the opportunity to speak to a few different people. And once they saw that I had a bit of talent, I could spin the ball. I got St Kilda Football Club said, see you later, you're no good. I then said, well, what else am I going to do? I haven't got any qualifications. I'm no good at anything else. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, Michael. And
well, I was going to ask you about that. You see all this catalogue of sport being played. What happened to your education at this time?
I managed to keep passing. I think they wanted me to stay there for play sport.
Is it true? I mean, you've got a sports scholarship to a good school. Is it true that you used to fall asleep in the lessons and they let you do that?
The lessons I went to, yes.
The lessons you went to. And you used to get beaten by the headmaster for misbehaving at times?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get beaten. I used to get punishment with the cane.
The cane?
Yeah, and it went something like this. This was the routine. there was ones I'd be misbehaving or whatever, just couldn't be bothered concentrating, didn't understand it, so I thought I'd be a fool, and generally would take a few people with me, so they thought it was easier just to get rid of me. So, rightio, Warne, go down and see the principal, Mr. Jones, go and see him, rightio. So I'd walk out and I'd take my time getting down there, and I'd eventually get on there, I'd knock on the door, see the secretary, yeah, I'm here to see Mr. Jones. What for this time, Shane? I don't know. Okay, go in and see Mr. Jones. So I go in there and he used to say, well, hello, Shane, how are you? I said, yeah, it's good, thank you. He said, what are you here for this time? And I'd say, oh, I don't know, I was misbehaving. Rightio, I'm going to practice my golf swing on you, Warne.
God.
Rightio. He said, you know the routine, bend over, lift your blazer up. So I'd like that, lift the blazer up, and you just hear this, just practising, and then he'll just sort of six of the best each time. And I don't know, I must have enjoyed it because I kept going back there all the time. But I did, I actually went there all the time, and geez, we tried like the 5 or 6 undies trick and all that. Still didn't work. No, still didn't work.
Book.
Yeah, no, tried all that.
No good at all.
No.
Did you, when you think back on that, do you resent him now? Do you
no, not at all.
No, you don't?
No, well, I suppose it's one thing that I, as captain of Hampshire, that I quite enjoy. At school, I didn't like being told what to do, although you have to, you know, at certain times. But being captain of a cricket side, I don't like telling the team what they have to do. It's up to them to be the best player they can and take their opportunity. If they don't want to do that, someone else will come in. So in the cricket side, I didn't like being, right, you've got to be here at 8 o'clock, you have to go to the gym, you have to go to the pool, you have to do training, you have to be this team meeting. I really didn't like that because I thought if I want to be the best cricketer I possibly can, I want to do that, I will be the best cricketer I can. I don't need you to tell me what I have to do.
It's a team game.
It is, and as a group of guys together as a team, you can achieve some special things.
Yes.
But in a team in sport, as individuals, you have to be the best you can, and no one can help you with that by yourself.
Was that why you had a rough time to start with at the academy? You went to the cricket academy.
Yep.
And you had a fairly unhappy time there.
I don't know if I had an unhappy time. I don't think they enjoyed my company.
Well, that's true. I mean, Terry Jenner said you're a pain in the arse, actually. But I mean,
well, I probably was.
No, he didn't say that, actually. What he said was you weren't serious. He said you weren't serious. That was a problem.
True.
You had all the talent in the world.
I probably wasn't ready.
Well, this is about my question. I mean, why was that? And when did you get serious? Was there a moment in time when somebody said something to you or did something where you thought, I've got to get serious about this?
Yeah, it was probably that time. I think that was probably spot on. The cricket academy, when I was there, went through a completely different change. There was 2 coaches there at the start, Jack Potter and Peter Spence, who had been there from ball 1 of the cricket academy. Then there was all sorts of turmoil going on in our year, and they were fighting, so they left. And we had 2 new people come in, one called Andrew Sincock and one called Barry Corsby. Now, Barry Corsby, I don't know how many games he played for South Australia, but was a bank clerk. And he was coming that we have to be at a pool at 5 o'clock and then we've got to be at the nest. I said, hang on, mate, who are you to try and tell us what we're meant to do? You haven't played cricket for a long time. Andrew Sincock was too busy blow-drying his hair about what he wanted to do. And we didn't know these people, and suddenly they're out of the blue, they're telling us exactly what we have to do. But as young kids, we were there to learn, so we tried to listen. But for me, I found it difficult to listen to this guy who I didn't think made sense. And I wasn't the only one. I just expressed the opinion. The rest just towed the line. And I would challenge him. If I thought, he said, this is the way we're going to do this, I'd say, well, why should we do it that way? Shouldn't we do it? Isn't there a better way to do something? So I don't think they liked being challenged. We were 17, 18-year-old kids trying to learn the craft. And the time at the academy, they went on tour and they told me I was a liability to go on tour. And I said, well, I come over here and improve my cricket. If you think I'm a liability on tour, what am I going to do here by myself? They said, you can go to the pool at 5 a.m. in the morning every morning. And I was honest. I just said, well, I've got no chance of doing that. If you want me to stay here by myself at the cricket academy till we improve, there is absolutely no chance I'm going to get up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning and drive to a swimming pool at 5. So I'd be better off going back to Victoria, where I was in the state squad for a couple of seasons, and try and play for Victoria. And I wrote a letter to Brendan Flynn, who was the boss then at the time. I said, I came over to improve my cricket. We both obviously haven't got along. I've enjoyed my time. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Another time it might, who knows, but hopefully we cross paths down the track. I packed my car and I drove back to Victoria, and I played Victoria 10 days or 2 weeks